This is an Eye on Annapolis bonus podcast.
We are here in the Maryland room, which I've never been in, of the new Michael Bush Library on West Street in Annapolis. And it is a beautiful facility. You've got to come and check it out if you haven't. But this is one of their conference rooms. And we are with Natanya Levioff, who is the race director for the upcoming 911 Heroes Run or 9/11 Heroes Run. How do you, 911 or 9/11?
9/11.
9/11?
We'll go with 9/11.
So this is the 9/11 Heroes Run, which is a signature event with the Travis Manion Foundation, which has its roots roots up in Pennsylvania, more roots down here in Annapolis, and continues on up in Doylestown, Pennsylvania as well. And this has been an annual event to raise money and raise awareness about Travis Manion, right?
Well, I think it's more about raising awareness about the day and what happened, not only on 9/11 and the lives lost that day, but also in memory of our service members who've died in all of the wars and activities since, who've had residual health issues as a result of being at ground zero, trying to rescue folks at that time. And so while it is a pretty large fundraising kind of event for the programs of the Travis Manion Foundation, I would say that it's really about honoring and remembering that day, those lost, but also the acts of bravery and humanity and community that we also saw in that day and in the days that followed.
Right. Well, 9/11, I mean, we are now in the, I can't believe this, but it's been the 20th
20
anniversary.
Years. Yeah.
And this year I know for Navy is incredibly special because Navy football is playing Air Force on September 11th. And I know that they're deep in the planning for remembrances and commemorations and honoring those that the service academies lost on 9/11. They're having a special thing for the Army-Navy game, which is, again, right in the shadows of New York. It's going to be played up at MetLife Stadium, I believe, up in East Rutherford, New Jersey. I do have my cruddy hotel reservation already. Not a whole lot of hotel choice up there. It's not the best place, but darn it, I'm close, and I've got
and we're going to be there.
I've got a bed. But 20 years is just absolutely amazing. And I think that really to start off, who's Travis Manion, for those that aren't aware?
So Travis is a Naval Academy graduate. He graduated in the class of 2004, and so he was certainly one of the young people who made a choice to come to the Academy in the shadow of the actual day of 9/11. And he wanted to follow in his father's footsteps. His father is a retired colonel in the Marine Corps, and so he chose the Marines. When
those Marines have a way of doing that to you, though.
I think anytime you have a service member in the family,
there's a little bit of pressure.
Or not, depending, right. But at least talk about someone to look up to and anything that takes place when someone, whether they're family or not, that they make a choice to be in service to this country, I think is an incredible thing and something to look up to. And so I would offer that was how Travis kind of viewed things with respect to
right.
his dad. He saw what his dad was doing and wanted to serve this country along with so many others. So he would have 2 tours over in Iraq after he graduated, his second one being the one where we lost him. And right before he left, he had an opportunity to go up to New York City and go to Rescue 1, which is the firehouse out of all the FDNY houses who lost literally, I think, except one member. They lost everyone on 9/11. I'm not sure how that invitation came to be, but he got to go up and tour the house and meet all of the staff there.
It had to be powerful for a young kid at the time.
He was only 2 years out of graduating at that point, right? So he's a first lieutenant in the Marine Corps. It was just at the start of his service, and all of these folks in this firehouse were thanking him because they knew he was a Marine. And I think for Travis, that was just so mind-blowing in that I'm only 2 years in. You're the house that sent everybody down. Practically no one came back. You rebuilt yourselves. I'm just at the start. How are you thanking me? And so I think it just really enforced and reinforced for him why he was doing the mission that he was doing. It gave him an incredibly renewed sense of purpose, not that he didn't have a sense of purpose already, and a renewed passion for why he chose the line of work that he did. And they sent him home with a hat from the house that says 9/11, never forget. He gave it to his father and said, hold on to this for me, before he deployed on what would be his final deployment overseas. And we lost him by a sniper in an ambush in April of 2007. So certainly a very tough phone call to get from our wrestling coach at the time. Travis was a wrestler at the Naval Academy. I do the announcing for the team. So I knew Travis during his entire Naval Academy career as a wrestler, as a mid. I've been a part of this, before this story had to be told. And so the foundation was created by the family to just honor his legacy, not just of service, but one of character, and one of leading from the front, and being there for people. And it's a special thing to be a part of.
It really is. And the 9/11 Heroes Run, how long has that been going? Now, that is happening this year on September 19th.
Correct.
It does not always happen on September 11th because runs usually have to be on weekends, and
there's kind of a Navy Air Force football game going on this year.
All of that,
so we'll let Navy football take lead on that day.
So we always go around 9/11.
Correct.
And what was the genesis of the run? Where did that come from? I mean, and how long has it been going on?
Yeah, so actually it was Travis's uncle, Chris Manion, who came up with the idea to do this run because of Travis's visit to Rescue 1 in New York. And he thought it would be a really great way, not just to honor our service members, but to also honor all of our first responders, our EMTs, our police, all that front line, who were such a critical part of what happened that day on the back end in that reaction place. And so it started in Doylestown. I believe it started right in 2007. If not, it was 2008. I can never seem to remember if it was the year in Travis's KIA year or it was the year after. And then Travis's mother, Janet, told Annapolis that we were next.
Okay.
So Annapolis is actually the second oldest run in the series
you said
in the country.
So how many runs are there?
So normally in a normal year, which,
what's normal?
What's normal anymore? But, so in a non-COVID situation, we would have upwards of 90 runs taking place, not just across the country, but around the world. 9-0.
Holy mackerel.
We have them run in bases in Bahrain. We've had them run on the decks of aircraft carriers. We have people signing up to run virtually because they're not in a city or a location that has an in-person opportunity. So it's upwards of 90 going into last year in terms of the number of different events.
It's funny, you talked about honoring the first responders and the firefighters and the EMT and the police officers and everything else. And I just jotted a note down here saying it's sort of weird that we're here in 2021 coming after a year plus of COVID. We've added a whole new group of people into first responders. As far as the healthcare people,
they were actually one of the two folks that we ran in honor of last year. We still did a run. Mm-hmm. We did it virtually and had an amazing turnout. I mean, over 600 people signed up to still find a way.
How does a virtual run work? I'm not a runner.
I'm not a runner either, and here I am, a race director of a 5K. So that's not lost on me.
But I mean, what is
you sign up and you're given from X day to X day. Go run your 5K. Your 5K and
run around your blocks and
whatever it is. Run in your neighborhood. Find a path. Do a jog path. Whatever your course is.
Can it be from like the couch to the refrigerator for a beer, like number of times?
I think whatever your definition of a 5K would be, that'd be a lot of steps and going back and forth. I won't speak to how many beers may come out of the fridge for each trip, but whatever your 5K is, that's how you do a virtual. So Marine Corps Marathon went that route. Several major runs from across the country did the virtual route, and people still came out and participated, and I think that's great.
Well, it's a lot more about the project than it is the run itself. I don't think anybody that participates in this wakes up and says, I I think I need some exercise. I think I want to do the 9/11 Heroes Run.
Well, we certainly do get some competitive runners. We are a run that does count towards times in the running space. But I think that's what makes our event so unique on the run calendar for Annapolis. We just happen to be a 5K. This is really about bringing the community together to honor and remember, and that's, I think, what makes it so special.
How many runners do we expect here in Annapolis?
For this year, being the anniversary year of 9/11, we're sitting here ready and prepared for 2,000 if that's the number that shows up. But we're feeling we could get pretty close. We were just under that in 2019, and we were anticipating that much last year because our run was dedicated to Brendan Looney, who was Travis's roommate. He was in a helicopter crash 3 years after Travis was killed in action. It was his 10th anniversary of his KIA date last year. And I challenged the committee when we sat down to think about, all right, what are we doing? Are we going to run? We had several of our runs that did not take place. We had choices to make if we were doing this last year. And I said, what's our raison d'etre this year? Why are we really doing this? And is it to truly push forward and do what we feel is right by Brendan to honor him? Also Naval Academy grad, right? Travis's roommate there, now his roommate buried side by side in Arlington. I said, and if we all decide to move forward in Brendan's name, then we're going to put something on that's special and meaningful, and people will still feel they're a part of something. And every single committee member said, that's exactly what we're doing, no matter what happens, whether we're allowed to be in person or not. And that's what we did. And we're very proud of what we put together. And the comments people came back in with, even though they were, running with their friend in their neighborhood around the cul-de-sac, right?
Sure.
With their pups. We weren't all at our home at Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium. So again, another tie to the academy for us. But everyone felt, they were thankful we were still doing it. So I think it gave something for people to look forward to in a way at the time.
Which we all needed.
Which we all needed. And people still felt like they were a part of something. And that's really what we strive for each and every year.
Right. Well, this does happen at Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium. And what is the route? I mean, what's 5K at the Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium?
So we're kind of half in the stadium and we're half out. We have an incredible partnership with the Admiral Heights neighborhood, who's supportive every single year and letting us run the streets.
That's because you don't have motorcycles.
We do have 2 motorcycle cops, thanks to the Anne Arundel County Police Department to lead the way out. So it's half in the stadium and then half in the neighborhood, using most of the jog path that's within the stadium. So we've grown now to where we had to expand our course, which is great to say. Our first year out, we literally ran around the stadium 3 times.
Okay. Well, hey,
we started with 100 people, and now we've been pushing 1,700, 1,800 folks on course in the last 10, 12 years. So it's been neat to see the growth of the event as well.
Wonderful. How do we register? How can we help? How can we run? I know we can go to 911heroesrun.org
/Annapolis.
Annapolis.
That's where you can register. You can sign up to donate. You can create a fundraising team if you don't want to run, but you'd like to help us meet our goal of raising $20,000 for the programs of the Travis Manion Foundation.
And what's the goal again? 20?
Our goal here in Annapolis is $20,000 to raise.
What's the total goal for all the runs? Do you know?
Everybody sets a different goal, and I think it has a lot to do with the area and the numbers that can come out. So some runs, the smaller runs, $1,000 is their goal, and they hit it. And we've managed, thanks to the incredible generosity of this community, we've raised $20,000 every single year for the foundation for the last 5 years running. And so that's our challenge to the community every single year. We've been doing that 5 years in a row. We want to make it 6.
Well, I guess it doesn't hurt that we're in a pseudo-military town.
Never does. Well,
with the Naval Academy and the Naval, the support center across the bridge, and then the Fort Meade certainly is
another strong area for
It's
recruiting.
funny. I don't think of us as like a military town like you would think of, like Norfolk or San Diego or something like that. But I guess we really are.
I think a lot of people simply don't understand that the Academy is still technically a military
military
installation.
based.
They still think of it as college, and as you know, they all like to say not college over there. So it's you can sign up to run, you can sign up to walk. So for those of you who are not fans of going quickly
now we're talking my language here.
We do have a 1 mile family fun run that's contained within the stadium grounds. If you want to throw a rucksack on your back and add some weight, we are partnered with Go Ruck, and you can ruck the event as well.
That was the question I had. I saw on the website this Go Ruck. What is that?
So Go Ruck is a partner organization with the Travis Manion Foundation. I believe it was also started by two veterans, and having to haul a lot of weight and packs as part of your military experience, depending on what service you choose and what specific area of specialization. They took, that kind of concept and brought it into this space of working out and getting strong and putting some weight on your back and being able to go do things and do some other kinds of warm-ups. So it's running or walking
or
exercising in some ways with varying types of weights. They have various levels that you can go for within the space. So we've got that going on as well. You'd get a special patch if you sign up to do that.
Interesting.
So that's been a fabulous additional partnership and just a neat extra. Again, it's just an extra neat way to experience this differently based on how you like to.
Right. I imagine a lot of the military and retired military and the veterans probably they're the ones that probably would jump on that a little bit.
Well, I got to say, me and one of my fellow committee members, we went ahead and we practiced to ruck, and we rucked the Marine Corps Marathon 10K this year virtually with the Travis Manion Foundation. And while we have military members in our family, neither one of us have served, so you don't have to be military to do this. So if I can put 10 pounds on my back and do a 10K, then I would say anybody can probably make that happen.
I'd say it's funny. A couple of years ago, I was at the sea trials for the Academy when they were getting rid of their plebe beer, and having noticed her cross the bridge, and they were trying to remember what thing. I think they were going into where they climb over the things, but they had to grab the
O course or the E course, maybe.
But they had to grab the pack and run with it. Yeah, and there were some people that were really, really struggling with them, and others that was like picking up whatever it was. And I asked the detailer that was there, I said, why is that? He says, because some of them are empty and some of them have 40 pounds in them. But if you touch it, you have to wear it.
Whichever one you touch.
So it's not like these plebes can run in and pick up, I'll take this one. It's like they grab it and it's like, oh no, it's the one with 40 pounds. And then I got to climb that stupid rope, get over that wall, and but it was funny because you'd see some of these, I'll show my sexism here, but you see these small female plebes pick up and they'll be like, take off like this, and then you see this big burly guy struggling like how is this happening?
I'm sure some of our ladies picked up the 40-pound packs and made it.
But it was hysterical when you would just
sure,
because I was going under the impression that they were all the same.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, so how does this little 4'10", 110-pound girl just pick this up and fly like she's Tinkerbell, and this 6'3" guy that was playing football, is like barely able to get it on his back. It was hysterical.
Well, at least you got an answer.
I did, and I thought that was brilliant. You touch it, you go. Like you break it, you buy it.
And folks can also sign up to volunteer and be part of our crew that helps make things happen and helps put hands to making the experience what it is for the day. So lots of different opportunities.
It takes a lot to make it run, doesn't it?
It takes a lot. Yes, it does.
And when do you start planning for this? I mean, it's funny. I've heard a lot of people squawking now that we are quote unquote out of COVID, that how come that event is not happening? How come that event's not happening? And I keep saying events are like trains. They're slow to start and then they get up to speed and they're even worse to stop. So people are really hesitant. I mean, I'm sure, when do you start planning for 2022?
Usually we start in January I mean, technically, I should say we technically start the day after we end. Well, but really, January is when we.
But again,
we start
so
the wheels
you're taking
rolling.
A full 9 months to plan a silly 5K race in the Naval Academy Stadium.
Well, it's not a silly 5K race. I would.
It's not silly, but I'm just saying.
Sure, absolutely.
It's not. This is not it's a big event, but it's not this gigantic festival concert type of a thing.
Sure, right.
And it takes 9 months. So that's the one thing is it takes so much time to plan and get all the logistics in there. And with the question mark of COVID,
well, and we're still operating under that question mark, I would say. And so all of our materials, all of our communications to everyone, just as it was last year, if conditions change, then we will change and adjust with it. And it's still going to happen one way or the other. But we're planning for in person.
What do you need as far as help goes? You're the race director, so it sounds like you're the one that just you're the one pointing all the different directions and doing everything.
No. I have an incredible committee of volunteers, 2 of whom are Naval Academy grads, one of whom is also still serving in the Navy, not a grad. Each of them have their part to play, and they're the reason that we have an incredible event every year. So I'm incredibly lucky to have the honor to lead this group of folks.
Well, what type of help do you need from volunteers?
So from a volunteer perspective, it is everything from registering folks, get them their bibs and their shirts when they check in, to just greeting folks and helping answer questions right out the gate. Where do I go? I'm looking for this. I'm looking for that. We need folks to be there to hand out water bottles when everybody crosses the finish line. If it's a hot day, as it tends to be, especially on our run day, folks need water right then and there.
Right.
We need hands to get things set up, whether it's cones or help our partners set up their booths. So lots of different things.
Is there an event afterwards, or is there an?
We're not one of those events that's really had much of an after party kind of.
It's not necessarily a party
thing. We do have an award ceremony, and then it's pretty much break down and go home. To be honest, but that beginning part, our partner pavilion, with all of our partners who come in, they're a combination nonprofit like the Annapolis Library, one of our partners. So it's great to be in this building with one of them. We have a lot of our military recruiting folks come on out. So the Marines, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard brings one of their small boats so you can climb on up and see what that's all about. And then we also have our incredible sponsor partners like USAA, Annapolis Cars, Teresa Beckman, who's a realtor with V-Cells, who are out there just, to be a part of the day, but to also actually allow us to make this what it is each and every year.
What would Travis think about this? It's funny because you told me that you knew him before he got out of the academy.
I think, first of all, as his sister Ryan, who is the president of the foundation, likes to say, he'd be a little sheepish about the fact that the foundation is named after him. That just was not his style in any way, shape, or form. But I think he'd also be incredibly proud. I think he'd be in awe of the community that's developed as a result of the work of this foundation and the people involved, not just with it, but the lives that we touch, whether it's young people through the Character Does Matter program, which is our youth character program, whether it's our Gold Star families who we take on expeditions to be together as a group to heal and to do an event in honor of their loved one, a service project, so that they feel like they're giving back in a way on behalf of their loved ones, whether it's our veteran community who we train to do all of these programs and work with young people and give them a sense of community, which they tend to feel they've lost once they leave the service. It's the highest percentage of why folks, when they leave the service, they say they feel disconnected all of a sudden. And so this community has allowed those connections to happen and to grow and to be with folks who've experienced things that you have. I just think Travis would be in awe, not so much that it's in his name. He definitely wouldn't be on that front, but who he was as a person, I think, is carried out every day in the work of the foundation. And I think he'd really just be in awe of it if he was.
And I've got to imagine this is just a wonderful, obviously it's a wonderful legacy for what Travis has left behind, but, a constant reminder of what a true, genuine person, hero he was for his family. I'm sure that Absent this, there's a lot of, whether it be any kind of parent that loses a son or a daughter, at some point they get to the point, and life moves on, and it's sad, but it's true. But this is almost so beautiful and poetic in a way, in that every single day there's something reminding them about the good of this, as opposed to the fleeting moments I would think that may come into any other type of a situation.
Well, and I think that's probably the case with anyone who experiences loss, right? You find a way to move forward. It's not about living in the past, but living with it. And I think moving forward, and speaking as someone who has experienced loss traumatically in a way. And I think, Ryan loves to say she was the older sister, but she looked up to Travis. He was her hero, in terms of being a sibling. So again, I think it's a powerful community to be a part of. There's lots of ways to be involved. The run is one of many ways, and it's again a way to come out and show appreciation. And I think that's also, there's something to be said for simply saying thank you.
Just a quick question for you, Natanya. You said you knew Travis back when he was at the Academy. Before we started recording, you did say that you're not an employee of the Travis Manion Foundation.
No, I'm not. I'm a volunteer.
What drives Natanya Levioff to do this?
I don't know that I've been asked that in a while. What still drives me, maybe, is more appropriate. I think, again, not only am I the announcer for the team, but I'm a sponsor mom, and I'm part of the sponsor family program at the Academy. And the wrestling team considers me the team mom. And so I'm getting to help develop our next generation of Marine Corps and Navy officers and develop youth, which is a passion for me anyway. And so I think for me, I think what it really genuinely boils down to is once September 11th happened, and I didn't start sponsoring until 2006, officially anyway.
I know how that unofficial stuff works.
The unofficial, yeah, a couple years before that for unofficial. But for me, I think it was watching these young people, whatever service academy they selected, or if they went into the fire department or police department or EMT or any of those kinds of everyday frontline kinds of scenarios, they all made those choices after 9/11 took place, this horrific, traumatic event that really has, I think, forged a place for itself in our nation, as these large events do over time. The fact that all of these young people made choices to go to the academies, and if you were going to West Point, or if you were going to go Marine Corps through the Naval Academy, and you graduated after 2001, you were going to Iraq. You knew exactly where your assignment was going to take you in those earlier years. And to make that choice on behalf of the rest of this country, to me, that's what drives me in the work that I do as a volunteer in Travis's name with this foundation. I want to honor those choices. And a lot of those young people haven't come home, like Travis didn't. And that's what drives me to continue being a part of this foundation and overseeing this particular event here in Annapolis for them.
Do you volunteer other places, or is this it?
Over time, I have. I think, I'll be the first person to say that volunteering, there's some element of selfishness there. And I don't know that people like to hear that, to be honest. But you want to do something that makes you feel good, that makes you feel like you're contributing to something greater than yourself. Right. And so there's been other arenas that I've volunteered in, but this has certainly been one of the longer standing organizations.
Sounds like it digs a little bit deep.
Efforts. It digs deep because I knew Travis, and you don't have to know him to be a part of it. But I think for those of us who did, I'm also very close to the family, close to Janet. It certainly has deeper roots for me personally.
I know one of his the signature line, if not me, then who?
Not me, then who?
I see that on the bench out in front of the Eastport Fire Hall.
Fire Hall, yep.
And that's not a bad motto to live by.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. And it's the total thrust of everything the foundation does. If I don't, right, who will?
Who's going to do it?
Who's going to? And it's whether it's something big or something small, right? You see someone struggling to open a door, go open it for them, right?
Right. Pick up the trash,
Pick
whatever.
up the trash. Go ahead and I think we talked about this once before, but go ahead and let that person in every once in a while. Not you and I can still debate that.
Right.
Me being the Philly girl that I am, I lost my Philly card last time I brought that up. But, so I think it's just as much about the little things and doing right when you can as it is the big things.
Right.
And if everybody lived by that motto every day and started doing things that way, I think it would be really incredible what we would see.
Well, everybody that is a runner or a rucker,
or a rucker, or a walker, or just
would like to support an incredible
just come on out
organization.
And be part of the day. Yeah.
Come out and cheer them on. September 19th. What time does it get started at the Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium?
So registration and partner pavilion will open at 11 o'clock this year. So
this is
we're
great.
opening
So we can
up
sleep
early.
in.
We can sleep in. That's correct.
And can we register on the day of?
You can register on the day of.
And in
Absolutely.
advance. But advance probably works a little bit better for your planning.
A little bit better. And also if you want to guarantee the amazing 9/11 Heroes Run T-shirt that you are given as someone
Annapolis
who signs,
Cars isn't giving out like free Subarus.
They're not giving out free Subarus. I'm sorry to say.
That was a horrible rumor I heard.
And they're not even raffling one off either. So August 31st would be the deadline to make sure you get one of these amazing T-shirts that lots of people like to follow.
911heroesrun.org/Annapolis. If you miss the /Annapolis, it's going to show you the main thing, and you're going to be able to pick what run you want to do because you've got them all over the country, world.
And world.
If you can get on a aircraft carrier, you can probably find one on an aircraft carrier too, I guess.
As long as somebody wants to organize that, but it won't be me.
And this is the only one that you do as Annapolis?
This is the only one that I do personally in terms of overseeing. That's correct. And then our opening ceremonies will kick off right around 1:30. And I'm delighted to announce that we have an incredible special guest speaker this year who is a Pentagon survivor. So he was there at the Pentagon when the plane hit and was one of the ones that ran towards the affected areas to try and help people get out. So retired Rear Admiral Hugh Weatherald is our special guest speaker. He was awarded the Navy and Marine Corps Medal for his actions that day. That is the highest non-combat decorative for heroism that can be awarded to a Navy or Marine Corps member. And we're just incredibly honored that he agreed to come and be our speaker and try to give a sense of what it was like at the Pentagon that day.
Well, September is going to be a time in Annapolis that plenty of opportunity to really remember what happened 20 years ago and give it some thought about what type of a country we live in, what type of people are fighting for us and have sacrificed for us. Certainly, the Rear Admiral in his bravery and going to help people, and certainly Travis and Brendan who, paid the ultimate sacrifice. And the 911 Heroes Run is probably a good place to show that support, to show and honor the legacy of these people and everybody else that has, really gone on it. I know.
And speaking of legacy and honoring, this year we're specifically honoring all 17 of the Service Academy graduates, but 14 of whom were from Navy. Yeah. That is who our run is in honor of this year. And in looking over the names, and they range from lieutenants to vice admirals. Some were retired and still serving this country, even though they weren't in uniform. And I think about one of these folks in particular, retired Captain Charles Burlingame from the class of 1971. He was the pilot on the plane that was forced into the Pentagon. And I try to even think about what could possibly have been going through his mind. And the one thing he was able to do, in terms of my understanding, was to ensure it wasn't a direct hit. I believe he was able to angle the plane in a way that it hit the ground as opposed to going right into the building, if I'm recalling what I was reading correctly, and to even have that kind of wherewithal. I can't even imagine what must have been going through his mind as the pilot on that plane. These are the people.
As a human, I don't, how do you make that kind of a decision that quickly? And it's mind blowing.
Yeah. So I would challenge everyone here in Annapolis to look up these Service Academy grads, learn their stories, learn stories of anyone that day. But for us this year in particular, learn their stories. This is who we're honoring this year with our event.
911heroesrun.org/Annapolis is where you want to go. We are here with Natanya Levioff, who is the race director, the volunteer race director of the 911 Heroes Run here in Annapolis, all to benefit the Travis Manion Foundation, which you can find more information about them at travismanion.org, and that's MANION. And thank you very much for your time today. Thank you to Skip and his team at the library for giving us this room for a little bit to chat. And I look forward to the run. I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not a runner, but I may walk it. But if not, I'll definitely be there.
Or at least come on out and just cheer.
Cheering on the
we'll
people.
We'll take cheering brigades all day long. John, thank you so much for having me. It's been a delight as it is, and again, it's been neat to be here in the Annapolis Library as one of our partners. So very, very nice full circle, to say the least.
Thanks.
This has been a bonus podcast from Eye on Annapolis. Please visit us at eyeonannapolis.net. Follow us on Facebook at All Annapolis and on Twitter at Eye on Annapolis. And if you haven't subscribed to the Daily News Brief podcast, go for it. And all of your local news will be delivered to your phone, tablet, or smart device by 6 a.m. every Monday through Friday.